Hello, and today I want to thank you all for joining me for another episode of Ramblin' Reviews. Now today we're going to be talking about none other than Exodus by Bob Marley and the Wailers. Now this is an absolutely remarkable album. I'm so excited to be talking about it this week. There's a real positive message behind this album. It's steeped in a lot of spirituality and a lot of kind of religious doctrine. But you can put that aside. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to be a Rastafarian to take a lot of benefit from this album because there's so much positivity and a lot of wisdom in it as well. Now I'm just going to get straight to the review. This album starts off with such a bang with Natural Mystic. Now, this comes in with like a really cool bass line that really sets up the style. And the kind of lyrical substance for this album really sets up the message for this album in general. Because Exodus basically means movement. It means a movement, a mass immigration of people. And this is kind of referring to the movement of Jah's people. Jah being in reference to Jehovah or God. And this song is supposed to be the first trumpet, or maybe it's the last, which is signaling this change, this movement that Bob Marley is trying to invoke in people. And the natural mystic, or the natural mystic energy that he's referring to, is basically the truth of nature and kind of it's basically talking about how when we left the Garden of Eden in the Bible, in the biblical sense, we cut ourselves off from nature. We ate from the tree of knowledge and became, we were cast out of the Garden of Eden. We became something else, we became something different to kind of our natural roots. And this song is talking about how we need to reconnect with that natural mystic energy that binds everything that is supposed to be the universal consciousness kind of thing. And Bob is kind of asking people to if they're going to answer this call of returning back to nature, and asking people to wake up and see the truth of this nature and how disconnecting ourselves from it has caused so much suffering and so much anger and hatred and separation. So it's a really interesting way to start off this album. It's a really interesting message. It's an absolutely remarkable song as well. All that aside, it's a remarkable song. Next, we've got So Much Things to Say. Now, this is about facing negativity and criticism, but also about facing an oppressive political establishment, and fighting for your own spirituality. And this kind of message is conveyed by it's kind of saying that people are talking about and people have got so much things to say, but that's not important. It's not important what other people have to say. What is important is what you know and what is important to you. And there's some really cool references in this. There's a really cool quote as well. I think it's from Ephesians 6:12. I think it is, and it's a really cool quote. I'm going to tell you the full quote, but obviously just kind of does a snippet of it, and it is: "Truly our struggle is not against the flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, and against the world rulers of darkness, and against evil spiritual forces of the supernatural realm." So basically, kind of the message of this, and including this quote and the message of this song, is that the battle of good and evil is not between men, but between the supernatural forces that guide men. Which is kind of the idea that if you give into temptation, that you are set on a path of darkness, which will manifest negativity. Which is an interesting message, and like I said, there's so much spirituality in this, and you don't have to take this. I'm not religious per se, but I just find this interesting, and there's so much kind of substance to take from these lessons. Next, we have Guiltiness, which is one of my personal favourite songs on this album. It's got so much style to it. It feels kind of like a bit of a rebel anthem, and the context and the substance of this is talking about the weight of guilt. That when you're a wrongdoer, when you do kind of evil things or spiteful things, and you act on false pretenses, that this negative action will come back around, which links to or mirrors the idea of karma, and the idea that your actions will echo for eternity, which is it's really interesting because whether you want to take this for a spiritual aspect or a metaphysical aspect, karma is really a real thing, because when you do something wrong, when you do something that is wrong, this will attach itself to your subconscious mind and will manifest in all sorts of negativity in your life, all sorts of unhappiness, and will just eat away of you. There's a Native American proverb where a grandfather says to his grandson, there are two forces in the world, two wolves. One represents greed, evil, and hatred. One represents love, peace, and happiness. and they're in an eternal battle against each other. And the grandson says to his grandfather, which one wins? And the grandfather says, whichever one you feed. And this is such a great message for this part of the album. There's this really well structured album with kind of these messages like interlinking and flowing really well together as it flows into the next song, The Heavens, which it's basically about the idea that we are moving towards a singularity, and this is what the Exodus is. It's all about the movement towards this kind of singularity, which is basically a point in history, a point in the future that we are moving towards, and as you move towards it, it gets quicker. And this song is talking about how there is a positive energy, a positive frequency, or even a movement to a higher consciousness that is coming. And this could be called, Christ consciousness, or moving to a higher frequency. This kind of links to a lot of different spiritual doctrines and stuff like that, and different kind of ideologies. But it is just the idea that we are moving towards something positive, a positive light, and that those who stand against this positivity, this positive energy, will be destroyed by it. And this is a really good, really fantastic message, really beautiful message, because he's also encouraging fallen fighters to let go of their trauma and to rise up to this positive frequency, which is basically saying that it's time to let go of unhappiness, let go of negativity, and move into this new positive light. And when we all move into it, or when we all assimilate into this positive energy or positive flow, or whatever you want to call it, heaven on earth, that we will all be uplifted by it. Which is, there's so much substance to this album. I mean, that's what I love about it. That's why I really love doing these videos, and why I'm so glad I got to this album, because there's so much substance to this. That just, once you kind of delve into it and start reading into it and researching, it's so interesting. It's captivating. The next song, which is Exodus, the title track, it has so much more significance with the fact that it came after this song, Heaven, because it basically is encouraging people to move towards a higher calling, and kind of preparations for this, this movement to a higher consciousness. And he's encouraging people to open their eyes and to look within. And this is also because Rastafarianism, one of the big things about Rastafarianism is about returning to the motherland, which is Africa, the continent of Africa, which is where humans do have their origins from. And it's also talking about a movement from escaping kind of Babylon, which is basically a reference in the West and the Western oppression, and moving back to the Father's land, which is Africa, or basically heaven on earth. That's kind of the idea behind it, which is interesting. I mean, Rastafarianism is a really interesting religion. If you kind of don't have if you don't have any knowledge on it, besides the fact that it's all about smoking weed, which it's not, then do your own research, because it is interesting. And like I say, you don't have to be religious to appreciate this message of this album and of this song, because this song is just all about liberation and freedom from oppression. Whether that be emancipating yourself from oppression in your mind, or emancipating yourself from an oppressive system or oppressive ideologies. So like I say, it's not you take the religion, but you can also take the just a positive message of it. Next we have Jamming, which is, again, it's significant. There's a real significant structure to this album, because this is about celebration of the liberation, and about Bob Marley's encouraging you and inviting you to jam with him, which is be free, and being free and dancing and enjoying this liberation and this freedom from control. And like I say, it's a really, really well structured album. It doesn't feel like any song comes on accident. It's really awesome in that way. Next we have Waiting in Vain, which is the next two songs are straight up some of the most romantic songs in music history. And this one is basically about patiently waiting for true love, and not being kind of hung up on superficial love, and waiting for the real thing. And this is kind of told in the context of Bob Marley was waiting for his true love he waited 3 years for, or whatever, and this was Damian Marley's mother. I can't remember her name actually, but this is just an interesting. It's just a love song. It's a beautiful love song. That's all it is. The next song is actually, I would say, is probably one of the most romantic songs ever, and that's Turn Your Lights Down Low. And it's just a beautiful song. There's not much of a strong message behind this besides sharing that sweet embrace with someone that you truly love, and how important and how significant this is. And one of the things I love about this song is just the sincerity in Bob's voice. I mean, that's one of the things that really makes Bob stand out as a singer, as a musician, is whether he's singing like a rebel anthem, whether he's singing a political anthem, or a romance anthem. You know, you can really feel the sincerity in his voice, in his diction, and you know, it comes through so well in this song, and it's just so lovely. It's such a beautiful song. Next, we've got Three Little Birds. I mean, how iconic is this song? I mean, really, how iconic is this song? It's kind of crosses all borders, all barriers. Everyone loves this track. It's so universally loved because it has such a positive message behind it. And also, like in these videos, I talk a lot about, you know, what the context and the subtext and what's in the lyricism. But like that's not because I'm not interested in the musicality. That's just how the direction I want to go with these videos. But the substance of this song is so positive. It's about kind of letting go of situations where you're not in control, where everything seems to be negative, everything seems like it's going wrong, and that nothing can get better. It's about letting go, because there is a cycle to life. What is good will become bad, and what is bad will return to good. And this is the cyclical nature of life and the ebb and flow of reality. And you know, there are things that you can't always control, and when you can't control these things, when you can't, the best thing to do is just let go. And you know, this is a beautiful message. It's so sweet. Also, another thing to touch on, and it might be a bit of a shot in the dark, but the Three Little Birds, I was thinking it could be a reference to the Holy Trinity as well, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But it also could just be the three backing singers in the Wailers who sing very sweetly. Next, we've got the final song, and this is, you know, talk about the structure of the song. This is such a fantastic way to end this album. It's such a point of the singularity, I suppose, and that's, you know, one love. And this is talking about the movement towards this universal consciousness, this natural mystic flow, I suppose, and kind of the idea that we are moving to this era, this age, or Bob is hoping that we are moving towards this age where we are all one conscious being. And you know, this is a beautiful message, and this kind of links to the whole idea that we are like, if you know about the Kabbalistic tree of life, the idea that we are all kind of branches of the same tree, kind of thing, and we are all stems of the same thing, and we are all parts of the same universe. We are all the individual parts of the same universe. We're just as connected to trees. We are not connected, but we are the same thing, if you know what I mean. We are made of the same stuff. We exist in the same universe, and you know, it's easy to forget that, and easy to forget our connection to this planet and to this universe. And Bob is kind of encouraging us to remember that. This song also has a message about, you know, how this, again, just returning to the idea that, you know, there will be retribution for your negative actions, which is kind of one of the overarching themes of this album, that, you know, people who are wrongdoers have got something coming to them, you know, that what your negative action in this life will manifest a negative afterlife, which is one of the overarching themes of this entire album, and of just the religion, and of all religions, I suppose. And you know, it's not all kind of lovey-dovey, this song. You know, it is talking about, you know, the sins of people will manifest in, you know, real hell. And that's going to do it for this review. I'm rambling on. It's rambling reviews, you know. I'm so excited I got to this album. It's a really beautiful album. If you've only listened to kind of the singles from this album, you know, individual songs, then do yourself a favour and just give this album an entire listen through, and you won't regret it. Like I say, I'm really glad I got to get to this video. I'm excited for, you know, what's coming next, and you know, I'm going to leave you with 3 track reviews off the top of my head because I've not prepared anything. Let's go with Glitters and Gold by Rebecca Ferguson, and we'll go with Jimi Hendrix, Manic Depression, and let's say, I'm doing this off the top of my head. Let's go with Pink Floyd, Dogs. Why not? this video has been a real seat of the pants kind of video, but I love it for all the same. Thank you so much for joining me again for another video, and that's going to have to do it. Thank you very much. Peace. One love.